Hey everybody, I know it's been a while. I hope you're getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, doing a little bit of meditation, because I know I sure haven't, as indicated by my very long absence from the channel. I've been watching some other YouTube channels lately, and I've realized that my desire to produce high quality content, and it's not quite perfectionism, but something close to it, has really stunted my ability to actually achieve the original mission of this channel, which is to kind of, peel back the veil of secrecy about transfer admissions in general, or at least my experience seeing transfer admissions. I kind of want to address that directly and start combating that deficiency in the way that I approach content creation, and just start putting out stuff that's a lot more casual, and where I don't focus as much on ensuring that it's completely perfect, and that I'm not completely beleaguering myself over making sure that it's like the best possible content that I can put out. I know that I'm not doing my end of the bargain when I just go long stretches without making anything or offering anything as a way of kind of giving back for the opportunities I've been given. So this is going to be the kind of format from here on out. It's going to be mostly one take stuff, and I'm going to just try my best to get out information as best as possible, and more frequently, of course. And hopefully this still works for a lot of you, but we're just going to jump straight into it. Today we're going to talk about some mindset approaches that are hopefully going to help you feel better prepared for what's going to be coming down the pipe as the common application opens up and each individual transfer application starts becoming available. So we're just going to kind of run into it. The first thing that there's going to be four main points here. And the first one I want to talk about is becoming acquainted with the fact that it's an imperfect system. Whenever you have a system that's developed by humans that has to deal with thousands of applications where there's limited number of spaces, there are going to be mistakes. Let's just put it this way. Qualified people get rejected, and unqualified people, whatever that means, get accepted. You could feel like the people who got in could be less qualified than you, or you could feel that they're like hyper qualified and they also got rejected. Just know that it's an imperfect system. There's no way of making sure that only the most truly qualified people get in. That's just not a thing. And you can look at this in two ways. If you're somebody who, like myself, was a little bit self-conscious about their application, thinking that everybody else is better than them, you should be happy that this is the case, because maybe they'll make a mistake and you can get in. And like maybe me getting in was a mistake, because I can think of a lot of other qualified people who probably deserve to be at Stanford more than me. But I try to make up for that by doing the best that I can here and trying to make my small impact as best I can. But on the flip side, if you think you're extremely qualified, then and you get rejected, well, that's perfect. They just made a mistake. It's not you there's a problem with you. It's just that the university made a mistake, and you can continue to have that high self-esteem. I don't know what that's like, but good on you. So that's one way of looking at it. Like, you should be happy in a way that there are these variations in who gets accepted, because either way you kind of spin it, it's kind of a benefit to the average applicant, whatever average means. So that's the first thing to understand, is that it's an imperfect system, and that's actually a good thing in a way. The next thing is understanding that school is just a means to an end. It's not the end in and of itself. I know that especially for high school students, it can kind of seem like it's the next sort of big life stage, and when you haven't done other things, it can kind of seem reasonable that like the university you go to is going to be like the dominating aspect of your identity, but that's just not the case. The university is just the place where you go to kind of get academically and intellectually challenged, that then help you ideally do whatever you were going to do anyways. I think that a helpful mindset is just thinking about, when you're looking at these applications and you're thinking about what the university can offer you, it's just, listen, like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and like, you can help me as the university, or you cannot. Like, either way, I'm going to do the thing that I was put on this earth to do, if you believe in some kind of like divine path or whatever. And the university is just going to be the, if you want, the people in office hours like to joke about this, but like, it's like a social lubricant, so to speak. Like, it helps you get to that point in society where you can make the impact that you want to make. I think that there is an argument to be made that like the university environment can help you identify what you want to do. But honestly, that's going to occur at pretty much any university you go to. That's just getting experience and getting introduced to new ideas. That's going to happen at pretty much every single university. And if you're not, getting introduced to new ideas or getting challenged and like having your, the way that you view life constantly attacked, then you're probably not getting the most out of your university experience anyway. So just point two, know that school is just a means to an end, and it's not the end in and of itself. It's not your entire value as a person is obviously not tied up with what university you go to. And sure, it's a little bit funny for me to say that as somebody who's here, but I fervently believe that if I went to any other top 25 or even top 100 university, like 90% of my experience would be largely the same. And even then, like I don't have a portal gun. I don't know what other universes look like for me in those universities. So does it even matter? No, not really. So that's point number two. School is just a means to an end. You're going to do what you're going to do. School can help you. Great. And I'm also looking down at notes. That's why I'm like not always on axis with the camera because once again, trying to do this one take. Number three, think of the application process as a growth opportunity, an enormous growth opportunity. It shouldn't necessarily be a super comfortable experience. So if you're feeling like, oh man, like this much introspection is kind of uncomfortable, or like I don't feel like I'm doing enough, like I don't feel like my extracurriculars are strong enough, like that's awesome. Like how often do you get the chance to really sit down and just take full stock of what your life has been like so far? Like looking back on the things that have, looking back and kind of getting an idea of what's like made you the person you are today, thinking about what you're doing right now and thinking, okay, here are some places that I'm like maybe not pushing hard enough. Here's some places that I could be doing better. And like you typically, there are very few times that you get to sit down and actually do that. So it is a huge opportunity for you to really learn a lot about yourself. And if you, like, even if you get rejected from every single school, you should come away from this experience with such a better understanding of who you are, what your intentions are, and like where you could be improving, that it's honestly not wasted time. Even if you do get rejected from every single school, there's always another application cycle. There's always more time to grow and always more time to make yourself a better applicant. So if you get rejected from the schools that you want to go to, there's nothing wrong with like, I don't want to go to a safety school. I want to work on myself for another year and try again. People do that all the time. And if you're not on like a serious time crunch, then that could be a great option. So basically this entire process, think of it as just a once in a lifetime or potentially multiple times in a lifetime opportunity to just really introspect and think a lot about who you are, who you've become, how far you've come, where you can still go, and use that as basically a free chance to do this kind of like self-analysis that you just won't get any chance to do later in life. So point number three, remember it's a growth opportunity, and it's on you to take value from it, because even if you do get rejected from every single school, you've still grown, you've still learned a lot about yourself, and it's going to just make you that much better when you approach anything else in life. So number four is going to be only worry about what you control, what you can control. When it comes down to it, I get a lot of questions like talking about like, well, what's like the average high school GPA for people who get into Stanford, like in the transfer context, and like I don't know. Like I've seen people with bad GPAs get in. I've seen people with good GPAs get in. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like the way that I look at it is, think about it this way. Look at this thing on your application and ask yourself, can I change this with good faith effort and a labor of love? If the answer is no, then stop worrying about it. Seriously, give it no more thought, because it's not benefiting you at all to worry that, okay, well, I've been doing everything right since I graduated from high school. I've got great community college grades. I've been doing really good academically. I've squared away my extracurriculars, and I like genuinely started giving a shit about being a good student, and I wasn't a good student in high school. Unless you have a time machine and can go back and change that, then stop worrying about it. It literally doesn't do anything for you. And there are so many arguments to counter where it's showing growth is important. Being a dynamic applicant is important. Showing that you actually have some kind of change. And of course I'm not an admissions officer, but if I was reading an application, a story of just continuous wins after win after win after win after win is less compelling to me than a story. Obviously, like just think about a movie. There's like a down point, there's a climax, there's a resolution, there's all these things that make it an engaging story. And if let's just put it this way, if admissions officers just wanted basically like your resume of successes, they just have you send in a goddamn resume. Like if there's a reason why they have you do it in like a way that involves storytelling, is because they're interested in you, and especially in how you view your own story and how you can tell it, because people love stories. We like getting around campfires and talking about shit. So that's just the way we humans are. And I think that if you have, once again, I said it in my other videos, if you have like a mark, like a derogatory mark or something on your history, derogatory is the wrong word. If you've got like a negative mark on your history as a student and you can't change it, just consider it like flair to the storyline. Everybody likes seeing a comeback story, right? So you could be the comeback story. You don't always have to be the person who's excelling at everything, and that's not the kind of person that's getting into Stanford all the time. We have lots of people, including myself, who don't have a long history of just academic win after win after win after win. So if you can't control it, don't worry about it. But with that being said, if you can control it, aggressively maximize your contributions. Seriously, like if you think that you're not doing enough, like obviously like, it would probably help, like once I'll plug my own office hours, but like come to the office hours or like find some people you can talk to, and like make sure that your own assessment of doing enough isn't completely wrong, because a lot of us people who have a tendency to try to hyperachieve, our envision or the way that we look at not doing enough is really, really way off base. So when it comes down to it, just don't worry about the stuff that you can't change. And in the situation you're in right now, do everything you possibly can, and it's probably going to be uncomfortable, to contribute, to be a contributor, to help other people, to help causes, to lead in your community. Just do what you can. And we'll use like the standardized test score as a proxy for that. Like you can't go back and change your high school GPA, but you can study and retake a standardized test score. You don't have to use the bad standardized test score that you had from years ago. But that being said, it might not always be the wisest investment of your time to study for a standardized test. It might be better. It might be a better use of your time to volunteer in your community, to contribute to causes you genuinely give a shit about. Because this standardized test is really just a proxy to make sure that you're like academically capable of not failing out of a school. It's not like an actual. I don't necessarily think that admissions officers look at standardized tests and like, I'm going to make a judgment of character on this person based on their ACT or SAT score. And if they do, then that's stupid, and you shouldn't feel like you should be a part of that system anyways. But yeah, so essentially, point number 4, only worry about what's in your control, and what is in your control, aggressively try to maximize it to make yourself a better person. And that's like the final point, which is just like a small little like asterisk, is don't do stuff because you think it's going to get you into a school. Do stuff because it genuinely moves you as a person and makes you feel fulfilled. These admissions officers read thousands of applications, and I'm pretty sure that they're better at picking out when people just do shit to get into schools and do it because they think it's the right thing to do, or like write an essay the way that they think an admissions officer would want to see. They can write an essay in a way that they would think an admissions officer would like it that way. Like, they're way more spun up on the game than you are, so don't try to beat them at that game. It's just do it for yourself. Like do it for your community. Be a good person, because the value of being a good person is intrinsic and it's important by itself. Don't be a good person because you can write about it in your extracurricular section on the Common App. That's what not good people do. So hopefully these 4 points, and I'll go back over them right now. 1, it's an imperfect system. Admissions is not perfect, and there are mistakes that are made. 2, school is just a means to an end. 3, it's a growth opportunity. Don't squander it. 4, only worry about what's in your control. And lastly, be a good person because it's important to be a good person, and not because it'll get you into the university you want to go to. So this is just the new structure of the way I'm doing things. I'm not going to even throw any overlays. This is just getting directly uploaded. I'm trying to keep these shorter, but I hope that you found some value in this. Maybe somebody will write the cliff notes in the comments, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm still holding up my end of the bargain of like trying to reconcile me being here at Stanford when other qualified people could have been here, and try to still offer some kind of value, and do it on like a more regular schedule, because I've been getting absolutely crushed outside of YouTube in my actual life. So I want to make sure that I'm still putting out content and trying to aggressively challenge that pseudo perfectionist inside of me who says that unless it gets beautifully cut and perfectly edited, then it's not worth being on YouTube. So I hope everybody has a great day. Good luck with your applications. Please stop by office hours if you want to get any of these points addressed a little bit more directly. And make sure you find people who support you in your decision to apply to some of these like crazy reach schools. Like, I know it can be intimidating to tell somebody that you want to apply to Stanford or Harvard or any of these places, especially when you're in an environment that might, you could expect somebody to say, oh, like, why are you doing that? That's futile. So basically just like get off like, College Confidential, and get off like certain subreddits that are toxic, and just like work on your applications with people who support you, and don't let somebody tell you that you're not qualified to do something, because if you put in the effort and you have the right mindset, I think that qualifications are looser than we might think. So I hope everybody has a great application cycle, and good luck with everything, and hope to hear some success stories. Take it easy.